FT did a video 4 days ago with the Prime Minister of Singapore. Singapore, extremely interesting country, really built from nothing by Kuan Yew, really turned that country into a economic powerhouse by being small. And they did an interview with him, and it got 1 million views in 4 days, which FT does not normally get that kind of views. He's got motion.
Well,
He's got motion. He's got some aura.
Singapore is perhaps the most globalized country in the world. And you like rules, you like precision, you like mathematics.
We like stability.
You like predictability.
Yes, of course.
You like
Who doesn't?
stability.
Who doesn't?
You must be having to adapt to a new world order.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit whether this requires fundamental change in the way that Singapore operates.
We are certainly in the midst of a
Does he have that
great
iron in him?
transition
Possibly.
to a multipolar world.
Wait, you got to guess this. To know about Singapore, you have to watch the You Have Iron clip. I'm sorry. That's the opener before we do anything else.
I can tell you that when I met the SIA pilots, I didn't meet them on TV. I met them, took them 65 minutes. They did as much talking as I did, a lot of them in answer to my questions. Okay. And they decided, okay, it isn't worth the fight. Why? Because they know they'll lose. They know that I'm prepared to ground the airline. They know that I can get the airline going again without them. And let there be no mistakes about this. Whoever governs Singapore must have that iron in him or give it up. This is not a game of cards. This is your life and mine. I spent a whole lifetime building this. And as long as I'm in charge, nobody's going to knock it down.
Aura, dude. Pure aura. Pure fucking aura. And again, Singapore's, quality of life, standard of living, income, GDP per capita, they all roared under him and are in a good spot now. So this is Lawrence Wong, and he's the current leader of Singapore. Now again, they're not really problems yet, but they could be, in that they have essentially a one-party state. It has an election, but the other parties can never win. So it's like soft authoritarian. But the reason those type of systems fail is because you get somebody in power with unchecked power who's terrible. But they haven't had that yet. They've had like reasonable, intelligent people. So when you have that, it does work. It breaks because of how you have no release valve. There might be due. Anyway, let's hear it. So he's saying we're transitioning to a multipolar world, a post-American order. Let's see.
Certainly in the midst of a great transition to a multipolar world, a post-American order and a multipolar world. No one can tell how the transition will unfold, but there is no doubt it will be messy and unpredictable, because America is stepping back from its role as global insurer, but there is no other country that's able to or willing to fill the vacuum.
True.
So we are in an uncomfortable position where the old rules do not apply anymore, but the new ones have not been written.
Yeah.
And we must brace ourselves for more turbulence ahead. So
Dude, what a joy it would be to have a leader that saw the world as clear-eyed as that. Seriously. Because that is what's happening. The late 2020s and maybe even early 2030s are going to be like the story of this, the story of new rules getting written, new things getting figured out, new alliances getting shifted. And it's like so important to, especially if you're leading a country, to be super hyper aware of that and trying to figure that out and adapt, and not trying to cling to any ideas from the past.
To do in this environment, I think we cannot afford to just wait for things to happen or hope somehow that things magically will fall in place.
Yeah, he's spitting for sure.
We have to take actions now, plan now and start taking actions to invest together in tackling the problems of the global commons, or in building new trade connections and keeping up the momentum of trade liberalization. So that's something that Singapore is keen to do. We can't do it alone, but we will do it with other like-minded countries.
Can you envision a world without the US?
The US may not be able or willing to join these plans now, but we have to press ahead. And hopefully in time to come, they will come along as well. But given the uncertainties and the unpredictabilities, we cannot just leave things to chance.
True.
We have to start taking actions now to lay the foundations of the new multilateral architecture.
But there are two views that the next few years are more of a passing phenomenon, or that there are deep structural changes.
Door
in the
number
world
two!
order that
Door
we
number
are
two,
now
lady!
living. You are in the second camp.
Yes, we are. We are, because we believe what has happened in America is not just a temporary phenomenon. It reflects broader change in political culture and also in American society itself. A feeling that America has not benefited from the current global order that it had put in place, and it is not prepared to do as much of the heavy lifting to keep the order going.
Yeah.
And I think that goes beyond this administration.
Yeah.
Some of this sentiment justified. Does Donald Trump have a point when he says that the US has been taken for granted, that it's been taken advantage of?
Some of it may well be justified.
I'm so interested in his
sense
answer.
That there may well have been free riders, so to speak, and countries do need to do more to invest in their own economic security and also stability. We do that in Singapore. We have never taken it for granted. We have consistently invested year by year in our own security and our defense, and also facilitated America's presence in the region. Certainly what the Trump administration has done is to motivate and catalyze many countries to do this self-reflection, and you see that happening now. More countries are indeed investing in defense.
There's certainly self-reflection.
So
You see it in Europe, and people are taking matters into their own hands.
So while there may be truth in some of this, of what Mr. Trump has said, and the positive result of this is countries taking more responsibility and spending more on their own security, we worry that the consequence of these actions will also mean, as I just said, a weakening of the global order today.
Yeah.
And we think there's no going back.
Yeah.
There will be a new multipolar world. Multipolarity itself does not provide a stable framework for countries to work together,
This
to
guy's
cooperate,
spitting,
and
bro.
to
I
ensure
agree so hard.
shared prosperity and security. So we have to think about what we can do together to engender that.
Does this multipolarity...
He's got wisdom. He's got
Yes.
a rare quality in a leader.
Because you often look at the way the US administration operates, and it looks like what the president prefers are sort of three strong countries. That wouldn't work very well for Singapore, would it?
We hope it will not end up like that, because if the world ends up in exclusionary blocks and fears of influence, I think it will be more dangerous and unstable. So from our point of view,
Yeah, I mean, that is a
multipolarity
real outcome.
should still have a way to bring about global connections. We would prefer a world where ASEAN in Southeast Asia, we are a platform that allows for open and inclusive engagement.
Get this guy on the
with all
pod,
major
he would
powers.
probably never do
Do
it, but that'd be
you think
awesome to talk to.
ASEAN
He'd be so awesome to talk to.
could become a more credible bloc?
Dude, oh wait, I gotta say,
politically,
I can't say who, but we got reached out to by two different tech CEOs to be on the podcast. Neither of them are Elon Musk. Just so you know. Two different tech CEOs. We're not sure if we're gonna do it. You know, it sounds crazy, but there are some strings possibly, and we gotta negotiate. But theoretically, because we gotta be able to. I'm not an aggro interviewer by any means. I generally want to just get their point of view, and then we can discuss it on our own. But I want to be able to ask everything I want to ask. So we'll see. Unless it's Lena Khan, then I'm pressing her. When it's Lena Khan, the attack dogs come out, dude. When it's Lena Khan, there's no question that I won't triple down on, all right?
So economically.
Certainly, we have ambitions to do so.
I know that this is what Singapore
fangs
hopes
come out.
for, but are there concrete moves to make it such?
I wouldn't, first of all, belittle the achievements of ASEAN. Southeast Asia is a very diverse region, highly complex, made up of so many different ethnicities, languages, religions. It used to be called the Balkans of Asia because of the geographical fragmentation and the potential for instability. And yet, all these decades, since the end of the Vietnam War, Southeast Asia has been able to maintain relative peace and avoided major conflicts. And
economically boom.
To ASEAN. ASEAN is certainly not perfect, but it is indispensable. And we are continuing to build on the foundations that have been laid. There are plans to accelerate ASEAN integration to make ourselves a more attractive and competitive single market. And in some ways, the tariffs imposed by America have indeed catalyzed and motivated ASEAN leaders to come.
Oh, what? The tariffs are motivating countries all around the world to build trading blocks outside of us? That even if they get us some small pittance in the short term, they're creating deep networks of connection outside of America that only makes us weaker in the long term? That's fucking crazy. And this guy who has no problem with America at all and can even lend credence to some of what Donald Trump is saying is understanding, explaining that in a wise way, that what we're doing is inherently self-defeating? That's fucking crazy.
Together with more urgency on this endeavor.
So you got off pretty lightly, but of course the US does not have a trade deficit in goods or in services with Singapore, so you got 10%. It's not the same for your neighbors. They have some of the highest tariffs. So there is a growing sense in the region that the US under Trump has turned its back on Southeast Asia. Do you agree?
The actions of the tariffs have certainly impacted America's standing in Southeast Asia. There is no doubt. But I would say all Southeast Asian countries still recognize that America remains the largest investor in the region, not China. China is the largest trading partner, but as far as FDI flows are concerned, America remains the largest investor. America still has significant stakes in Asia, and all of us in Southeast Asia want to maintain good links with America. And that's why many countries have had extensive negotiations
make it so hard for
with the US, and eventually they have landed on slightly lower tariffs.
More around 19%. It's interesting how now we think of 10 or 20% practically as relief.
I agree fully with you.
But we started with nothing.
Exactly. So from our point of view, the correct figure is 0%, but 10% has become the new normal. What to do?
You could, though, still suffer from semiconductors.
Their convo's fun. I mean, it's just two intelligent people going back and forth about real shit. It's actually, this is crack. I like this. This is a great conversation.
Pharmaceuticals.
The questions are good. The answers are good.
Are you in discussion with the US? And do you think that you will get exemptions?
We remains to be seen. We are in discussions with the American officials on this. But from what we understand...
I mean, like, every time the question, and it's a smart question, is asked, he just answers that question directly. He doesn't go back to a talking point. He doesn't fucking... He just listens to the question and answers it. Is he stupid? How the fuck is he going to get votes with this? Well, he hasn't mentioned fucking Sleepy Joe once, by the way, which is boring.
Some of the large American firms, like the pharmaceutical companies, some of them on their own have already negotiated their own exemptions because they are investing back in America.
So these are the pharmaceutical companies in Singapore,
That's right?
They're American companies. They're investing in America, so they get their own exemptions.
That's right. So we are, looking at this in greater detail also to understand fully what's the impact on our economy.
You're a logistics hub. There are a lot of re-exports from Singapore, and supply chains have been disrupted because there is pressure also from the US to remove Chinese elements. From
big problem for Singapore.
Supply chains. Have you felt this pressure, and what impact has it had?
Not so much on the overall flows, because if you look at global figures, trade flows continue. They are just being reconfigured into new patterns of trade. And so long as they are continuing, especially in Asia, Singapore can remain a relevant node. And we see that continuing to be the case. And we are determined to remain at the center of these global patterns.
I know that you...
Yeah, like, for example, instead of going, China, Singapore, America, it'll go China, Vietnam, Singapore, America, so they can relabel it to avoid the tariff. It's not going to change the fucking global trade flow because everyone's fucking dodging the shit anyway. So the transshipping,
We're under pressure to stop US advanced chips from getting to China, right? Advanced chips that you get in Singapore. What are you doing to stop these flows?
Well, our position is very clear. We've established a business hub on the basis of our reputation for rule of law and trust. And so we are determined and fully committed to maintain the integrity of our business environment. We will not tolerate businesses violating our laws. We'll take strict actions. And when it comes to export controls, we will also not condone businesses or individuals taking advantage of their association with Singapore to circumvent the export controls of other countries.
all right, but to be clear, it is happening. I mean, I think his answer's fine, but to be clear, it is happening. Like Singapore, and it's just a reaction to what will happen. Like, it's the Napoleon continental system. It's whatever. If you try to whack-a-mole, control, black market something, there will be a way in. Singapore as a commerce hub becomes that way in for NVIDIA chips to China. They go through Singapore to get to China. That's how they get there.
So where America is concerned, what we have done is put in place robust arrangements so that the US government can take actions, investigate companies of interest in Singapore if they so wish. And we will also extend...
I think that's even fair. That's a fair answer, because it's like saying, listen, this is an impossible whack-a-mole game. We're going to give you complete freedom to deal with it as you want, but you can spend all the money and time trying to hunt it down forever. That's a great answer. Because honestly, like if America wants to spend tons of money and tons of effort to try and fucking hunt down every single GPU smuggler in fucking Singapore, they can do it. It'll just keep happening somewhere else. It'll keep, if you want to have the endless, it's like the fucking, war on drugs or whatever. If you want to try and hit the supply and never hit the demand, you can go for it forever. You can, whatever, but it's not our money, not our time.
Similar arrangements for other countries if they would like also to have the same treatment where it comes to their export controls. Because nowadays, export controls is not limited to America only.
I know, China's got rare
Are you
earths.
surprised that economic growth hasn't really suffered? Tariffs were supposed to do a lot of damage. And yet, whether you look at the global economy, the recent IMF report, or indeed in Singapore, economic growth has not yet been affected. Did we get it wrong?
No, I don't think we got it wrong. I think there are several reasons for it. One, the actual rollout of the tariffs have not been as high as what they initially were indicated to be. Second, there has been a lot of front-loading of activities,
That's the big
which has
one.
dampened the impact. And third, generally speaking, because of AI, because of new technologies, the rest of the economy has been quite resilient so far. But there will be an impact. I think we already start to feel it in our own economy.
This guy's wise as fuck.
In many ways, we always say the Singapore economy is like the canary in the coal mine because we are so open and so exposed to the external environment. We are the first.
What the fuck did AI do? It's not about the effects of AI. Not like AI is dramatically increasing productivity or anything. It's that the spend on AI has kept a lot of things afloat. At least here in America. Like of our GDP growth, I don't remember the exact number, but it's 3.4. 3.1% of that is due to data center AI spend. So much money is being spent to build out power, build out data centers. So if we didn't have this gigantic vacuum of money towards AI, there would be almost no growth. It's the only thing that's growing.
The environment starts to weaken. We didn't feel it in the first half of this year.
So how are you feeling it now?
We are starting to feel some slowdown now.
Interesting.
We approach the second half of this year. Because of uncertainty, businesses are holding back on new investments and new hiring, and we are starting to
I hope they don't start firing.
Slowdown in business activities.
I'm just wondering how you and your neighbors navigate the tensions between the US and China.
Impossible.
There may be a trade deal, there may not be a trade deal. One day it's on, one day it's off. How difficult is it for you?
I suppose we have to take a step back and look at, first of all, the US and China relationship itself.
Dude, I gotta say, the reason I'm loving this interview so far is I'm actually excited to hear his answer to every question because he knows so much more. Like usually when you're watching these interviews, you already know what they're going to say before they say it because they have talking points. But I actually want to hear his POV on every one of these questions because I'm going to learn something from a guy who's like deeply living this every day. It's actually interesting.
It's the most consequential
and he's not
in the world.
He's also not lying. I mean, maybe there's more he could say for sure, but he's not like he's not clearly trying to redirect back to a safer thing to say. He's like answering these hard questions that could piss people off.
It's
kind of like when I talk about Twitch chat. It's like I feel very similar to when I hear Twitch chat talk. It's like you guys are just dropping wisdom after wisdom after wisdom, and it's like sometimes I don't even want to stream. I want to just stare there and listen to you guys. I just want to shut up and listen because you guys are dropping so much knowledge. I assume at some point he's going to say glizzy, 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 coffee cow moo. And I'm going to be like, wow, brilliant. He might be in here right now. Guys, I have to pee really badly. I'll finish this interview in just a second. I got to pee. Couple stomps. Quietest Atrioc stomp. Shut up. What was the question?
Most consequential of the U.S. and China.
U.S. and China relationship is the most consequential relationship in the world. I agree. Extremely important. It's the big national divorce that is causing ripple effects throughout everything.
China relationship itself, it's the most consequential relationship in the world, and it's also the most dangerous fault line in international relations.
Yep.
For now, you can see both countries wanting to insulate themselves from each other.
Yeah.
But there are also many interdependencies between them. Their economies are deeply intertwined, and they are looking at potential
They don't want to be.
points to use as leverage. But when one economy squeezes, the other squeezes back right away. So you end up in a path and a dynamic of mutually assured destruction. We see this
He's so wise.
happening already, as you know, even now. And furthermore, when one side starts to weaponize a particular dependency, it just motivates the other to look for alternatives.
Yes!
So when America
Yes!
controls on chips, China will start looking for workarounds.
Yes, dude!
Because you can use lower-end chips as workarounds, and China
my
will
God, he's
start
so
looking
smart.
to become more technologically self-reliant. And when China puts controls on rare earths, I think all of us will start to.
Do you guys think that Lawrence Wong watches Big A? You think he's a parade rock kind of guy? You think he's in the clip? No, but I mean, it's so refreshing to hear a leader say this. Like these weapons are like guns that point at your own face. These idea that you can just unilaterally restrict a country from a certain technology or in China's case, from elements of the earth. Then China can just be like, yeah, these are 6 natural elements that exist on Earth. You can't use them without us. It's like insane. It's like it's the height of arrogance. The idea that America can be like, you guys can never have high-end chips, and then China be like, you can never have, xanthium or whatever. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's a crazy thing to do, and of course it will backfire and drive people to work without you. And it applies even things like mostly with sanctions, dude. Like, listen, Trump threatened more oil sanctions on Russia. Do you know what happened in response to these threats? Did Russia stop selling oil to India? No. Stop selling oil to China? No. The price of oil went up 6%. So oil, which has been heading down and making Russia weaker, is spiking up because Trump keeps putting up these random fucking sanctions. All it does is help Russia. It just makes the price of oil go up so they can sell it for higher prices. This stuff is so backfiring. If you want to make Russia's economy weaker, pump oil. You should deliver their oil. Just get it out there. Fucking it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, dude. A lot of these unilateral controls by countries that try to like project power, I find them to be really backfiery, but also they cause chaos. They cause like panic and stress and problems in the short term, and then they just make you weaker long term. I love that this guy's like similar thoughts.
These are not so rare after all, and America and its allies, I'm sure, will look for alternatives. These things will happen. It will take time, but the economist in me says that we should never underestimate the elasticity of supply. So when you look at these sorts of dynamic and the consequences of actions, I think America and China may well come to a new modus vivendi. think about how they can coexist with one.
I'll Google it. I'm not afraid. What's a modus vivendi? Is it like a mode of operation? Is it like a way of life? A modus vivendi. Oh, it is way of life. Nice. Perfect. A new way of life. Okay.
One another, even while they compete intensively. It's not easy to see how this may arrive very soon
I'm trying to,
in the near term.
I'm trying to imagine what you are describing. If it's unstable in some areas, it will be unstable in other areas.
Yeah.
Often hear the Chinese saying that they look at the relationship as a whole and they cannot compartmentalize it, whereas the US prefers to compartmentalize. So do you think they'll get a trade deal in the next few weeks?
We hope so. It may not be a strategic agreement that resolves everything, but even some form of a guardrail to manage the economic relationship in trade is better than nothing.
True.
And if the US and China continue to coexist and not end up with a full decoupling, which is going to be highly damaging to both economies and also highly destabilizing for the entire global economy. So if they can find ways to coexist, going back to your earlier question, Singapore and all of ASEAN countries will be able to navigate this new environment. We will be able to therefore continue to have relations with both America and China.
Do you think that a lot of the US sort of economic nationalism, the America First strategy is leading more to a China First strategy, and in some ways giving them this impetus to produce the chips themselves, to make themselves even more independent and paradoxically stronger?
You can see growing confidence in China throughout its entire society at its own developmental model. China's rise gives rise to a lot of unease in many parts of the world, not just because of it's a rising power of tremendous scale, but because it's a power with a different economic model and political system. But I think the world must realize that China will not converge with Western norms, and it will find its own path to modernity. And while there's still tremendous catch-up growth because its per capita GDP is just 1/5 of America's, in some areas it's gone beyond catch-up. It's a technology.
Yeah, in manufacturing, it's ahead. I mean, China's interesting because the rural parts are really so undeveloped, and the city parts are like in the future. Like the coastal cities are doing incredible, and then the rural parts are so backwards. And each one of those parts has more people than all of America because it's 1 billion people. It's just crazy. I mean, they have 300 million migrant workers. That's as many people as the country of America. It's really shocking. I mean, the scale is crazy.
Technological leader in many areas, in advanced manufacturing, in renewable energy. So we have to contend with and accept the reality that China is not just a rising power, it is a risen power. And the moves that it has made in recent years, I think just demonstrate that China itself recognizes its growing weight and is thinking about what responsibilities it might exercise as a leader in the global system. For example, it recently decided to forego its special and differential treatment provisions in the WTO. In just this past year or so, it has doubled down on its support for global institutions. And I think these are examples of how we have to embrace the reality that China
it's kind of stepping into the gap
and potentially
U.S. is pulling back from in some of these places.
This new global system.
But doesn't a country like Singapore then have to make a choice because you have navigated a strong...
Bro, okay, one thing is she keeps trying to make him say one side or the other. Like, he can't do that. As a good leader of Singapore, he can't be like Team USA or Team China, bro. He just can't do that. He literally is telling you over and over that it's a multipolar world. We're a small country. We have to trade with both. And she keeps being like, yeah, but who do you fuck with, though? Like, are you Xi Jinping or are you Trump? Like, who's your... It's like, bro, he can't do that. He's not going to burn his cards on that one. He's answering your questions very honestly, but this is one you can't...
Political defense relationship with the US and a very strong trade relationship with China. Do you not feel that you are reaching a point where this balancing act doesn't work anymore?
Having said all that I just described of China, we are talking about China today still not being able to or willing to replace America's role in the global system. Because it's not quite at the same level as America. It's still a middle-income country with a lot of domestic challenges. So there is no need.
As opposed to our country, which has no domestic challenges. Or Europe, which has no domestic challenges. Everyone's got domestic challenges, bro. It's the fucking century, or it's the fucking decade of domestic challenges. Everyone's got domestic challenges, bro. They're all over. And using the China trip? Yeah, I'm going in February, I think. Late February into March. I'm doing a month in China. I'm trying to see all these major cities. Trying to interview people. I'm trying to do a big China trip. I'll be doing 2 weeks with a friend who just had a kid, and they're showing their Chinese family the kid. They're flying back to China to show their family, and they're going to show me all around and really get a like a local perspective. And then I'm going to do 2 weeks with Lemonade Stand, a true China expert, Aiden Calvin, who's going to talk to Uber driver or DD drivers, and we're going to learn about that with that. No weeks with Ari. Ari and I are going to Japan in 2 weeks, but this China trip is, she's coming with us for the first half. Is there a way to reach out to you or meet you in China? We might do a meetup. I have no idea right now, but I would love to do that. But again, China's really big, so it depends on where we do it. We might do a meetup. When we were in New Zealand, we did a meetup.
Leader yet emerging, and we are in this very messy period of transition.
Yes.
And this
will
be a long...
What does Singapore do then?
Therefore, in this very
she keeps asking him.
Unpredictable, messy period of transition, which can continue for years, maybe more than a decade.
Bro,
I think we will have...
Give it a rest, lady. Give him a chance, bro. He can't tell you a straight answer on U.S. or China. All right, he's trying to tell you that he's going to figure it out and work with
like-minded countries, as I said just now. Find ways to preserve and reinforce the multilateral frameworks that matter.
So describe to me a little bit this sort of multilateral system that you see. I know that there's a new grouping that you are promoting with other smaller countries. How do you see that system working and surviving?
They scale up.
The efforts are multi-pronged. One, we have to reinforce and reinvigorate existing institutions like the WTO. For example, in the WTO, the consensus decision-making process, which is a treasured principle, has become a recipe for paralysis. We have to change that. We have to find ways for plurilaterals to take off in the WTO.
Well, you need the US for that.
Well, how does this guy know my language so much better than me? Plurilaterals. I get it by context, but I've never used that word in my life, bro. This guy's fucking crazy.
You do. So we're not discounting the role of America. We're saying some of us should start moving, keep the momentum going, and in time to come, even if America is not willing to or able to make a decision today, maybe down the road it might. And so we have to do that in terms of refreshing global institutions, which we are doing. The second part is to look at pathfinding.
I studied at Harvard of the Southwest. We're no different. First of all, we're no different. Okay, we both studied at branches of Harvard, essentially. And then, I know Singapore, one of the main languages is English, but I'm quite sure he speaks more than one. I don't know which one he grew up with, but...
New initiatives, which we are working on too with like-minded countries. So the future of investment and trade partnership, which you talked about.
That's the one with the UAE and
that's right.
Yeah.
We bring together small and medium...
I'm just saying, let's be real here. This guy's smart, don't get me wrong, but what's his League of Legends rank? Where'd he peak at? Can we be real? Where'd he fucking peak at? Let's be real. I think he has that iron in him, if you know what I mean. I think he's got that iron in him, and that's not what we need to have in a leader. Okay?
Dependent economies, because we are all alike in wanting to uphold a rules-based trading system, and we can come together to push the frontiers for new initiatives. Amongst these 15 or so economies, we already have virtually tariff-free. So the point is not to come together to do an FTA, but to think about what new ideas we can put on the table, including facilitating investments, making it easier for businesses to interoperate across our economies by standardizing rules, regulations, customs, documentation.
This type of shit sounds boring, but it leads to prosperity, bro. Cooperative, coordinated economic unions from like-minded countries in a similar trading spot leads to profitability for both. I don't know. This whole beggar thy neighbor shit, it doesn't work.
Enabling, using technology as an enabler with electronic invoicing, documentation, data flows, these sorts of things. And if we can have new initiatives like that in time to come, we might be able to multilateralize them as part of WTO precepts.
You are a massive investor in the US.
We are
and
an
around when you hear of the attacks on the Federal Reserve, when you see the unpredictability of economic policy, does that make you less likely to invest? Are you reducing investments? Are you shifting more towards Europe? Or is it there is no choice? Your largest investments have to be in the US.
We are not scaling back right now because when we look at investments, we look at macro risk environments, but we also look at the individual company dynamism and prospects for growth. And for now, while the risk premiums at the macro level may have increased in America, we still see a lot of leading edge technologies, tremendous dynamism in American enterprises.
True based.
So we remain invested
Eagle
in
Screech.
these companies. But it's not America
Stars and Stripes.
alone. We continue to look out for opportunities around the world, in Europe and in Asia and other parts of the world as well.
What about Europe? There is an opportunity for Singapore politically, economically, on the investment front, to have a closer relationship
Very much
with
so.
the EU.
We think Europe will be also a key player in this multipolar environment. Europe is a major power in its own right. And Europe will be a key player in this new global environment. So we are keen to forge closer links with Europe. We already have very close links with Europe between Singapore and the EU.
Does Europe
We
now?
are looking at how we can bring different groupings together, and there are opportunities to do so between the CPTPP and the EU, for example. We have been having discussions on a more formal partnership. That accounts for something like 40% of global trade between EU and ASEAN. Incidentally, EU has already signed or moved on FTAs, not just with Singapore, but with several ASEAN member countries. So if we can get EU and ASEAN together on an FTA discussion, that would be another 1/3 of global trade. So these we see as new opportunities to reinvigorate trade. I mean, we are in a world where the global system is starting to see becoming more and more clogged up, but we would like to keep the arteries of trade open and maybe create new arteries. And that's why we see these strategic opportunities with Europe.
Does this new world order that is yet to emerge, does it require any domestic changes
question.
in Singapore
Interesting
towards
question.
more political liberalization?
You're going to have two
I
parties.
ask also because you would have seen that there's a new youth movement that's emerging in different parts of the world.
Oh yeah,
the
Gen Z movement.
The Gen Z movement. Tell me how you are thinking about the future on domestic,
These are tough questions.
social and political liberalization.
The two are connected. It's a relevant question. The changes in the global order, as well as the sort of youth movement that you see around the world. And we see growing anxiety amongst young people everywhere in the world.
Yep.
In China, they talk about lying flat. In Japan, there's a term hikokomori, staying in the home, not going out. Yeah. And I think in America, Europe, you talk about...
You call them Atrioc viewers. I know, I get it. There's a term for them everywhere. We got it, okay? We call them people on the rift, bro. League of Legends players.
Great resignation and all sorts of other terms. So you see that level of growing anxiety amongst young people because we are in a different environment, less stable, more chaotic, more disorderly. So naturally, young people are more concerned about their future.
Yeah.
We feel that in Singapore too.
Yeah.
So from a political point of view, from a domestic point of view, our focus must be to find ways to give assurance to our young, to give them that confidence.
Yeah, that's what they want from a leader more than anything.
And that's what we are determined to do.
That's what they want more than anything in the fucking world.
Thing that you've had to do since you became prime minister?
Many hard things. I don't know that
Hardest.
Hardest.
Have you been to see Trump?
Not yet.
Okay,
Not yet.
so you haven't done the hardest.
We might have a chance to meet when he comes, if he comes for the ASEAN summits, which he has said he would.
Yes, because he has to sign the peace agreement.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure whether it's just for that, but if he comes to the ASEAN summits, there may be a chance to meet him. I've had a phone call with him late last year. It went well, but I'm sure there'll be opportunities to meet.
Okay, so we take that out.
Yeah,
That's not the hardest. What is the hardest?
Has been really in managing people. You don't realize the extent of it until you get into this job, right? Which is that I'm not just prime minister, I'm leading a party. I'm leading a party, go into elections, and you have to then think about which are the members of my team who I have to drop, because I want renewal. And one of the keys to the PAP's success has been a full focus on renewing our team every election. And this is not easy to do at all.
That's interesting. I mean, that's probably one of the reasons of their success, because, again, one of the biggest problems with single party authoritarian type governments, again, they have elections, but they just never lose. and not that they're rigged either. It's that not the rigged as in the ballots are rigged, but that it's like very, very hard to form an alternative party and get everything through. Anyway, but what I'm saying is they're focused on renewing the staff of it, because one of the biggest things that happens is stagnation. When you get stuck in a one party system that doesn't have to compete, similar to like a company. Once they don't have to compete for votes or elections, they become more and more disconnected generally from what the populace actually wants, because they have there's no pushback. But they're clearly focusing on renewal without that, which is pretty crazy.
Easy to say, let's just continue with the status quo. I don't want to offend anyone. It's okay, we all move along. But then if I do less of the renewal, I will pay the price
yes, dude!
5, 10, 20 years from now. So having to
I like this guy a lot, man. Straight up. I think this guy's a great leader. On God.
To each one of them individually and say, I'm sorry, I'm not able to allow you to continue. I have to drop you. That was very painful.
So party management.
Yes, that was very painful.
Just the mere idea that some guy's talking about the future of his country in 5, 10, 20 years, as in after he's out of power, that's refreshing too. We have the most short-term fucking focused society right now that it's ever been in my whole lifetime. Everything is about the news of the week and very rarely about things that'll happen 5+ years from now, which is like so important. Dude, one thing I was giving China credit for 5 years ago exactly. No, actually 6 years ago. Maybe even 7, I'm sorry. This is right before COVID, during Trump's term. There was the first little mini trade war with China. And China, which again has many faults of its own that I pointed out, but China, in response to that mini trade war, commissioned a deep dive study on every single area of thing that the United States could use as leverage in a future trade war. And then they spent the past 6 or 7 years, one by one, ripping those away. So like, there was a helium dependency on America. They got rid of that. So I'm doing 6, 7. Fuck you guys. Fuck you. God damn it. They went and they got the helium dependency. There was the soybean stuff. They built up the ability and the trade networks to get soybeans from other areas, which they deployed during this trade war. The rare earth metal stuff. They built the capacity and the ability to enforce a rare earth metals ban. So they got all this stuff ready so they have way more leverage going into this trade war. That was a long-term plan. That was not like oh shit, this is in 2 weeks, let's figure it out. That was like, hey, this is going to happen again in the future. We need to be ready. And they were way more ready this time around. And that kind of stuff makes a much better chance of prosperity for your citizens. Like the long-term shit is what pays off, not the short-term stuff. That's cool and all, but does China have big booty Latinas? I'm sure that's on Xi Jinping's list. I'm sure he's fuming at the fact that he hasn't figured out a way around that export restriction, but he's trying to figure it out.
Not easy to do. And I had to steel myself to do it and manage it. And I'm glad we had a good election outcome at the end of the day.
Thank you for your time, and hope to see you again soon.
Very interesting interview. Really refreshing. Glad to hear it. I very much enjoyed listening to that. I hope he talks more. I don't want to make any claim here that Singapore is perfect either. No country's perfect. That's the fucking thing that, especially Zoomers, I wish they understood. They all have deep flaws. All of them. Every one of them. But, you know, a little bit of wisdom goes a long way, bro. A little bit of long-term thinking can make the difference. It's massive. It can make we all have one life, as far as I believe. Choices that you don't get to make can have huge effects on your life for 30 years. And so you really want wise people making those choices. Luckily, we have the wisest president of all time, so